Hi and welcome to Priori Digital Studio tutorial. In this video, I will show you how to set up and use your paycheck budget spreadsheet in the most efficient way. In this video, I am using Google Sheets, but the Excel version is exactly the same. First of all, we protect most of the cells where there are formulas to make sure that you don't erase any important formulas that could impact the spreadsheet. So if you see this message, it means you are not supposed to touch it. But don't worry, I will show you step by step how to prepare your spreadsheet. If by mistake you touch a cell with a formula, you can simply click on the X and you will be fine. Moreover, we established a color code to show you which cells can be edited and which one cannot. So basically, you can only edit the cells that have a white background. Another small warning, please do not move a cell from one place to another. If you do move a cell, it could generate an issue by messing up with the automation of the spreadsheet. The best way to avoid these errors is to copy and paste your data. The first tab of the spreadsheet is the Setup tab. As you can see on the left-hand side of the tab, you will find a ribbon with a list of all the tabs to easily navigate through them. The tabs are separated by sections for an easy navigation. The first section is the Setup section, where you will be able to enter all your financial information and set up the spreadsheet. This section is quite important and you will be able to often come back to these tabs to auto-populate the other tabs of the spreadsheet. Then you will see the dashboard section with the dashboard and the monthly calendar view. And the last section includes the budget tab as well as a sinking funds. The whole menu is clickable, so if you want to go to the budget tab, you simply have to click on the budget link and the spreadsheet will automatically brings you to this specific tab. If you do not want to see this menu, you also have the possibility to hide it. To do so, simply click on the minus sign and the menu will be hidden. In Google Sheet, you will see this message. It's the only time when you can click on OK. Then if you want to open the navigation menu again, simply click on the plus, OK, and then it will reappear. This menu is also available in all the tabs of the spreadsheet. In the rest of the Setup tab, you will see 4 steps to help you start your spreadsheet and populate the information in the following tabs. Step 1. In this table, you will have to enter your currency symbol, and you won't have to enter it anywhere else in the spreadsheet. We are in $sign, so we simply type in the $sign. If you are in euro or in any other currencies, simply type in the symbol and you will be fine. In step 2, you will have to set up the starting date of the spreadsheet by typing the year and selecting a month with the drop-down menu. This spreadsheet works on a 12-month basis. Typically, the year starts in January for my personal budget, but you could perfectly start your budget when you purchase the spreadsheet or anytime within the year. Then step 3, you will be able to enter your different income categories or income stream. In general, you will have 1 or 2 different income categories. If you are a couple, for example, you could write something like Paycheck John, Paycheck Jessica. And you could also enter any side hustle or other incomes that you have. Step 4, the last feature of this tab is to define your expenses category. The spreadsheet is already separated into 5 big categories: bills, subscriptions, expenses, savings, and debts. Under each big category, you will be able to define your own subcategories. These subcategories will be used in the budget tab of this spreadsheet. So if you need to add a new subcategory in the middle of the year, you will have to come back to the Setup tab to add it here. Now let's take a look at the Recurring Transaction tab. This tab allows you to set up all your recurring transactions over the year, like your income, your bills, your subscriptions, and your debts. Typically, these types of transactions are always the same every week or every month. This way, you'll be able to enter just one row for these transactions instead of having to do so weekly, for example. You simply have to select the subcategory defined in the Setup tab in step 4. Then you can define the frequency of payment and the amount. Once this is done, simply enter the date of the first payment. You can select the first payment date when you start using the spreadsheet, and then enter an end date if there is one. Concerning the bills, subscription, and debts, the principle is exactly the same, so you enter the same information. So let's take an example and enter some information into the subscription. So let's say that we have a YouTube subscription. Simply find YouTube in the drop-down menu. Let's say the frequency is every month. Let's say the amount is $50. And let's find our first payment date. Let's say it's in September and on the 5th. So that's it. Now YouTube will be a recurring payment every 5th of the month. So now let's take a look at the payment tab. First thing, be careful because this tab is not protected to allow you to filter the data. So make sure to never erase any formulas. In this tab, you have the summary of your payment sorted by date. If you want to make a modification to a payment about the date or the amount, you can simply indicate the modification in these columns. If everything looks good to you, then there's no need to make any more modification. Then, once the payment is done, simply tick the box under the column Paid. You also have 4 big filters at the top where you can select the data that you wish to see. So for example, if you want to see your bills, simply click on Category, then clear everything, click on Bills, and then on OK. As you can see, the spreadsheet will filter and only show you your bills. This tab is a little bit different in Excel since these features are not available. So there is a standard filter at the top of the table, but it works exactly the same way. So if you want to remove the filter, simply go back to the category and then click on Select All 5 and then on OK. So as you can see, the spreadsheet will show you back all your transactions. We also left some space for notes if needed. So now let's take a look at the Variable Transaction tab. The Variable Transaction tab is a transaction tracker where you will be able to enter all your variable transactions over the year. This table is complementary to the Recurring Expenses tab. This tab is very intuitive. You just have to type in the date of the transaction, the amount, and use the drop-down menu to select the subcategory previously defined in the Setup tab. You also have some space for a description if needed. Since this tab is for variable transactions, there is no checkbox since the transactions should be entered here only once they are paid. Also, some rows are in red in this table. It means that this subcategory is already set up as a recurring payment, and this is a simple warning to avoid having duplicated expenses. So don't worry about this. You might have some transaction in red, but be careful. It simply means that it is already in the payment tab. So I removed some data to do an example together. So the first thing that you will want to do is to select the date. A short reminder, in Google Sheet, there is a small calendar like this. In Excel, you will have to type in your data. So let's say September 16, and then let's say that we spend $50 on makeup. The category, as I said, will be makeup, so simply find it in the drop-down menu. And as you can see, the category column is automated, and this is an expense. You could write some description if needed. Once all your data is in this table, you can simply scroll to the right and you will see a really similar table. If you do not touch this table, it will display exactly the same data, but the most interesting feature is that you can easily filter and sort all your data. So let's do an example together. Let's first decide on the subcategory and let's click on makeup. So as you can see here, we can easily see the transaction that we just entered, which was on September 16th. Then let's say that we want to sort this by date. So let's simply go to the sort option and then sort by date. And let's say that we want to sort this by descending order. As you can see, the data will be easily sorted. We can also filter the data based on date, based on amount, as well as category. If you want to remove the filters, simply select the data and click on delete. As you can see, all the data will reappear. The first tab of the dashboard section is the main dashboard of the spreadsheet. You do not need to enter any information in this tab. Everything is auto-populated. This tab is basically a summary of your yearly information. So as you can see on the top right, you have all your basic information like how much was your annual income, your annual expense, and so on. You will find multiple comprehensive charts that will help you understand your yearly financial performance. At the top, there is a calendar for the current month, along with the number of bills paid or pending. You'll also see a chart displaying your bill distribution. Additionally, you will find 6 detailed charts that provide insights into your income, a breakdown of your spending, an overview of your saving, a list of largest expenses ranked from highest to lowest, along with their corresponding dollar amounts and percentages. If you scroll down, you will find a summary of the syncing fonts tab, which will be discussed later in this tutorial. So now let's take a look at the Smart Calendar tab. In this tab, you will have to choose the year and the month, and you will see all your income, bills, subscription, and debts. So simply type in the year. So here is 2024. Then for the month, simply click and you will see the drop down menu. You can select the month that you want to see. Then you can start this calendar on any day of the week simply using the drop down menu. In this example, I will keep the Sunday as the first day. Except these three cells, that whole tab is automated. And when a payment is done, an X will appear in the first column and the bill will become green and strike through. To make this little X appear, you simply have to tick it in the payment tab. So let's take an example together. Let's find the payment for the phone of John on September 2nd. So let's go back to payment and let's find this specific transaction. So as you can see here, this is the month of September. We just found it there. So let's tick it and we will see that in the calendar, it's just became green and strike through. So this way you will never forget to pay a bill or a subscription. You can also easily see today's date, which is in blue. You can also print this calendar if you wanted to. So to do so, you simply have to select the whole calendar with your mouse, then go to the printing icon. Then you will have to change the printing date setup to selected cells, make sure the paper size match with your printer, and then put the page in landscape. Then you click on next, and then you can print it. In our case, we will simply click on cancel. If you are using Excel, you can simply refer to our README instruction PDF, also included in your order, to see exactly how to print your calendar. So now let's take a look at the budget tab. The first step in this tab is to select your budget period. This spreadsheet offers a great flexibility, allowing you to track your budget weekly, bi-weekly, every 15 days, monthly, or even on a custom time frame. Simply choose the option that best suits your needs, which typically depends on your paycheck frequency. Next, you can define your start date by entering the year, selecting the month, and typing in the day. If you choose a period other than custom, the end date will be automatically calculated, and the end date field will be grayed out. However, if you select custom, you'll need to enter an end date manually. Below that, you'll find 4 summary figures for the selected time period. These display your total income, total expenses, remaining amount to spend, and amount left to budget. You don't need to enter any information in these cells. We also added a few notes here and there to help you understand what these cells means. Similarly, the blue budget summary table is auto-populated, serving solely to help you understand your financial performance. The aim for the budget tab is to create a budget based on your estimated income and expenses and make sure that you have enough money to pay for all these expenses. If you have money left at the end of the month, well, good job. You can use it to pay your debts more quickly or to put this money into your savings. But the most important thing is to keep in mind this concept. The first step is to fill in your budget in the income table. This is essential to understand how much money you expect to have for your budget. In this table, the source of income and payday columns are pre-filled based on the recurring income tab. Next, you'll find the expected column, which is not automated. Before the beginning of the period defined, simply estimate your payroll and type in here what you expect to receive into your bank account. The real amount column is automated based on the recurring, the payment, and the variable tabs. Next, you'll need to budget your subcategories for each of the 5 major expense categories. The category names are already populated based on the information entered in the Setup tab. Remember, there is a difference between your budget and your real expenses. The budget column represents the amount you plan to spend, while the real column shows the real amount spent in each subcategory during the period of your budget. This amount is totally automated. So to enter your budget, simply type in the information as we did here. So if you need more rows, simply click on the plus sign here and 25 more rows will appear. Again, remember, if you are in Google Sheet and you click these kind of plus or minus little symbol, you will have this message. It's the only time where you can click on OK. So as you can see here, you have some extra rows. And basically, the rest of the tab is completely automated based on the information previously entered in the setup section of the spreadsheet. If you scroll down, you will see 3 sections. In the first one, you will see the Where Does My Money Go chart and table. This section sorts all your expenses from the highest to the lowest. The chart summarizes all this information and allows you to focus on your biggest expenses of the month. The second section is the When Do I Spend My Money chart and table that allows you to know when you spend the most money during the budget period. The final section is the Transaction Filter table, where all your transactions are displayed. This table is fully automated, pulling transactions from both the payment and variable tabs. Please note that only paid transaction will appear in this table. If you forgot to mark a transaction as paid in the payment tabs, it will not show up here. Moreover, only transactions within the date range defined at the top of the page will appear in this table. If you adjust the date range, the table will automatically update accordingly. Additionally, we've added the option to filter your transaction at the top of the table. You can filter by date, amount, category, and subcategory. You can also sort your data like date and amount by ascending or descending order. So let's say that we want to see some specific data here. Let's enter some start date and end date. So let's put the 1st of September and then the last day of September. So now let's say that we want to filter by category and only select our expenses. So as you can see here, it filtered and left us with a few transactions. Now we want to sort it by amount to see the smallest to the biggest. Once this is completed, the entire spreadsheet and charts will be automated. You'll be able to see which day you spend the most money and in which category. If you scroll to the top, you will find charts displaying your financial performance for the selected period. One of the most valuable features of this product is that since almost everything is automated in the budget tab, you can duplicate this tab to track another time period without affecting the dashboard or previous tabs. So to do so, simply right-click on the tab, then click on duplicate. So as you can see, it could take a few seconds since there is a lot of data in our spreadsheet. So if you want to change the name of this tab, you can simply double click on it and call it whatever you want. Moreover, be careful every time you duplicate the spreadsheet or the budget tab, the second one will not be protected. So make sure that you do not type in any information into the gray cells. These have formulas in it. Simply write information in the white cells. So now let's take a look at the Sinking Fund tab. This tab will help you set money aside to reach your financial goals. So all the graphs below are auto-populated and will change with the data you insert in the table on the left-hand side. To set up your sinking funds, you simply have to list your goals. You can list up to 15 sinking funds in this tab. First, give your money saving goal a name, then write the amount of money needed to reach that goal, the amount you aim to put aside each month toward that specific goal, and the amount of money you already have aside for the goal. It can also be zero if you want to start a new goal from scratch. The rest of the table is auto-populated. So let's take an example together, and let's say that my next saving goal is to buy a dog. Simply type in buy a dog, for example. And then let's say my goal is to save up to $2,000. I want a big dog. And then let's say my monthly goal is $50 to put aside toward that goal. And let's say that I just received a little bit of money from my parents, so I have already $500 aside for that goal. So as you can see here, I can see that I have 25% of my goal that is already achieved and that I have about 30 months left to achieve my goal. In the contribution tracker on the left-hand side, you have to track the amount you put aside for your goals and assign it to the specific goals. Double click on the date to pick a date from the calendar if you're on Google Sheets. And remember, if you're on Excel, this feature doesn't exist, so you have to type in your date. Then use the drop-down menu to pick a goal, and finally write the amount you just put aside. So let's take my example of buying a dog, and let's say that I just put $150 aside. As time goes by, you will see your progress increase. You can easily see how many months you are left until you reach your goal and the date your goal should be achieved. So that's it. I hope this tutorial helps you easily set up your spreadsheet. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions or concerns. Follow Priori Digital Studio on YouTube for sneak peeks on our new templates.